In 1928, a man was camping in the Karakoram Mountains when he noticed a mysterious glowing object near his campsite. Curious, he approached it and discovered a large sphere of light covered by a thin layer of ice. After staring at it for some time, he attempted to strike it with his weapon. The moment he did, he immediately lost consciousness. As he lay there unconscious, the sphere's glow became even brighter. When he finally woke up, the sphere was gone. The only thing left behind was a strange mark on his body. 80 years later, in 2008, a scientist named Helen was working as a professor at Princeton University. That evening, she returned home to her stepson, Jacob. Since his father's death, Jacob had grown distant toward her, but Helen continued to care for him as best she could.
Come on, I said please shut that off.
You didn't say please.
Jacob?
Without warning, Helen received a call from an unknown person who informed her that a car was on its way to pick her up. At the same time, police vehicles surrounded the house and an FBI agent arrived at the door. He insisted that Helen come with him immediately but refused to explain the reason.
Dr. Benson, if you'll come with us.
What is this about?
Everything will be explained en route.
Reluctant to leave Jacob alone, Helen hesitated until she noticed her neighbor standing outside. She left Jacob in her care, then departed with the agent. During the drive, a confused Helen repeatedly asked why she had been brought there, but the agent still refused to tell her what was happening.
Can you stop the car, please?
Ma'am.
I am not under arrest. You can't do this.
Ma'am, I can't tell you why you're needed because I don't know.
They eventually arrived at an airport where a helicopter was waiting. Inside were several scientists from different fields. Like Helen, they had all been taken from their homes without being told why.
I'm a nuclear physicist.
No, microbiology. Theories of life beyond Earth.
All right, so we're all scientists.
No, not me. I'm a civil engineer.
The helicopter later landed at Linwood Military Academy in New Jersey. Upon arrival, military personnel ordered everyone to hand over their phones. Helen secretly kept hers hidden instead. Soon afterwards, she was greeted by her old friend Michael. Michael explained that Helen had been included because of her work with the well-known scientist, Dr. Carl. He then gathered all the scientists and finally revealed why they had been brought there.
Helen.
Oh, Michael.
Been a long time.
Are you behind all this?
Yes. I had you put on the vital list. I thought it was important to have you part of this team.
A mysterious object was approaching Earth from space. According to all calculations, it was heading directly toward the planet and would strike New York City. Its speed was so extreme that destroying it seemed impossible. Because of this, the government had created a special emergency team to deal with the consequences after the impact. The projected collision could kill nearly 8 million people, and very little time remained before it arrived.
Can we launch a missile to intercept it?
The military is attempting to do just that. Our chances of success are slim at best.
After the briefing, Helen slipped into a bathroom and secretly called Jacob. She told him to stay hidden in the basement, but did not explain the situation. A soldier overheard the call, yet instead of reporting her, he simply asked to use the phone so he could contact his own family.
There's gonna be a big storm tonight.
Soon afterward, the scientists were taken to the expected impact site. Despite extensive analysis, no one had been able to determine exactly what the approaching object was. As tension continued to rise, the missile defense system suddenly stopped working as well.
They're saying we lost launch capability.
Expecting the worst, people began counting down the final moments. However, no explosion came. Looking outside, they saw a glowing sphere descending slowly toward the ground. It landed in Central Park, causing panic among nearby civilians, who quickly fled the area. Wearing protective suits, the scientists carefully approached the object. Many of them noticed an unusual energy surrounding it. Police and military forces soon arrived and secured the entire location.
Did you feel that? Feel what?
I feel it.
A bright flash then emerged from the sphere, and a humanoid alien stepped out. Helen cautiously moved closer. The alien reached out toward her, and she slowly reached back. Before they could make contact, a gunshot suddenly rang out, striking the alien. He collapsed into Helen's arms. Moments later, a massive robotic creature emerged from the sphere. It instantly cut power throughout the area and released a powerful sound that caused intense pain in everyone's ears. The machine appeared ready to retrieve the wounded alien, but the alien signaled for it to stop. The robot immediately powered down. The injured visitor was rushed to a military laboratory. Once there, the medical team struggled to determine how to treat a being unlike anything they had ever encountered. As the alien's condition continued to deteriorate, Helen argued that they needed a surgeon immediately to remove the bullet. A surgeon was brought in and successfully completed the operation. During the procedure, he was surprised to discover that the alien's internal anatomy was almost identical to that of a human.
We don't know its physiology. For all we know, the fluids may kill it.
What do I do then? It doesn't have any veins.
Look.
Going into cardiac?
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. As I go deeper, there's muscle, vein, nerve, bone.
While examining the body, he noticed that the alien's gray outer skin was shading on its own. As he carefully removed the layer, he found what appeared to be an ordinary human underneath. After the surgery, the alien was placed inside a medical capsule to recover. Helen studied his condition and suspected that he might be dreaming. Not long afterward, the alien suddenly woke up and became alarmed when he saw the capsule surrounding him. Helen calmly reassured him and introduced herself, and he gradually relaxed. As she spoke to him, he replied in English. Now that the gray outer layer was gone, he looked exactly like a human being.
My name is Dr. Helen Benson.
Help you. Nothing to fear.
News of the alien's arrival quickly spread across the world, causing widespread panic. Major stock markets dropped sharply, New York began preparing for mass evacuations, and people in many countries started leaving cities out of fear. At the same time, Secretary of Defense Regina called an emergency meeting. Officials discovered that the aliens had gained access to spy satellites, and reports showed that additional glowing spheres were landing in different parts of the world.
We know nothing about them.
Almost nothing.
Regina later visited the laboratory where scientists presented their findings. Their analysis revealed 3 separate DNA patterns within the alien's tissue. Internally, he was almost completely human. The gray outer layer appeared to serve as a protective covering. Based on this evidence, the scientists believed that aliens had visited Earth in the past, collected human DNA samples, and used that genetic material to create a human appearance.
The DNA samples we've taken seem to represent 3 distinct life forms. The body tissue is human, as far as we can tell.
This is 1 hour after surgery.
When Regina met the alien, he was already speaking fluent English. He requested water and appeared uncomfortable in his new body, explaining that it would take time for him to adapt to it. Regina attempted to question him, but he refused to respond. Later, Helen approached him in a more patient and respectful manner. This time, he revealed that his name was Klaatu and that he represented multiple civilizations. He requested an opportunity to address the United Nations.
I represent a group of civilizations.
Where is this group of civilizations?
All around you.
Regina denied the request. After that, Klaatu refused to provide any further information. In response, Regina ordered that he be sedated and transferred to a secure location for interrogation. The scientists considered Klaatu to be an important scientific breakthrough. They opposed handing him over to the Secret Service, but Regina believed he was a major threat to humanity and insisted that control of the situation should remain under the authority of the Defense Secretary. This led to a disagreement between Michael and Regina.
Madam Secretary, as scientists, we can't consent to this.
Helen then intervened and offered to carry out the injection and all the required tests herself. She was given a classified serum designed for him, but before returning, she secretly replaced it with a saline solution from a pharmacy. Regina informed Klaatu that he would be moved to a more secure facility. Klaatu demanded to be released so he could leave, but Regina refused and accused him of entering Earth illegally and launching an attack through his robot.
We've already prepared the solution for you.
Klaatu responded that he had not even reached Earth at that time and that the robot had only acted in response to conflict and violence, which he had already stopped. His explanation was ignored, and Helen was instructed to administer the injection immediately.
You invaded our airspace.
It acted to defend me.
Instead of the serum they had given her, Helen injected Klaatu with saline and quietly told him to escape. Shortly afterwards, she was escorted away, while Klaatu was restrained and taken to a room equipped with a lie detector system. An agent questioned him while monitoring the machine, but Klaatu gave only vague and unhelpful responses. He then used his abilities to reprogram the system and shock the agent with electricity. After that, he took control of the agent's mind and demanded information about how to leave the base.
You should let me go.
He also forced the agent to hand over his suit. Using his control over the security systems, Klaatu accessed the cameras, located the guards, and used a powerful sound to knock them unconscious. An alarm was triggered, causing panic throughout the facility, but Klaatu calmly walked out. At the same time, Helen secretly took a sample of the alien's mask.
100 yards left from the back of this building.
Regina issued immediate orders for all military units to capture Klaatu. Meanwhile, Klaatu arrived at a train station where many services had been shut down, and the situation had become chaotic. Because part of his body was human, he began to feel hunger. Using his abilities, he retrieved food from a vending machine. A nearby child reacted in shock after seeing this, while his mother quickly dragged him away. While observing the crowd, Klaatu noticed how easily people became angry even over small delays. Shortly afterward, he started feeling unwell. He went into a restroom, saw that he was bleeding, and then collapsed. Some hours later, Helen was at home when she was contacted and informed that a patient at the station wanted to see her. She realized it was likely Klaatu and quickly went to the station to pick him up. Jacob was also with her in the car and was behaving aggressively.
Hold on a second.
I'll be right there.
Klaatu asked Helen for the gray protective layer that she had stolen earlier, and she gave it to him. When he placed it over his wound, it immediately began to heal. At the same time, the military attempted to attack the robot again, but it activated in response and took control of military systems, destroying helicopters within seconds. The army was unable to stop it.
Withdraw, realign for no sorting.
Negative, I've lost link!
Who's in control of the aircraft then?
Helen continued driving along a route that Klaatu had instructed her to follow. During the journey, Jacob noticed people fleeing the city and becoming increasingly fearful. He began expressing strong anger toward the aliens and said they should be destroyed, mentioning that if his father were alive, he would have fought against them. Jacob then asked Klaatu whether he thought people should run or stay and fight. Coldly, Klaatu replied that there was nothing they could do.
Should people run or should we stay and fight?
There's nothing you can do.
They finally arrived at a designated location. Jacob stepped away to use the bathroom, while Klaatu asked Helen about her personal background. She explained Jacob's family history, including his father being a military engineer, his mother dying during childbirth, and Helen later marrying his father before he also passed away, leaving Jacob in her care. Helen then asked why he had come to Earth, and Klaatu replied that he had come to save the world. Cutting her off before she could ask another question, he stepped out of the car.
I came to save the Earth.
After that, they went to a fast food restaurant where Klaatu met a man named Mr. Wu. Mr. Wu was also an alien who had been on Earth for about 70 years and had spent that time studying human behavior. He stated that humans were unwilling to change, often acted aggressively toward each other, and would eventually lead themselves to destruction. Klaatu agreed with his assessment and said it was time to proceed with the plan. Mr. Wu disagreed with leaving Earth. He said he had observed both the good and bad aspects of humanity and had formed attachments here, including his family, so he wanted to remain until the end of his life. He then told him that he considered himself lucky to have lived as a human.
This is my home now. I consider myself lucky to have lived it.
Meanwhile, the military surrounded the robot with strong containment panels, believing it would stop it. At the same time, people were receiving calls claiming Klaatu had been spotted, and the government issued an order for anyone who saw him to report it immediately, dead or alive. Elsewhere, Helen, Jacob, and Klaatu traveled toward New Jersey. When they reached a forest, Klaatu asked Helen to stop the car and continued on foot. Helen followed him into the forest, instructing Jacob to stay behind, lock the door, and not open it for anyone.
Stay here. Wait, lock the door, okay? And don't open it for anyone but me.
While inside the forest, Helen encountered a group of unusual insects. She then reached a river where she found Klaatu standing and looking at the water. A glowing sphere suddenly emerged from the river, and Klaatu triggered an emergency activation process. This caused all similar spheres that had arrived on Earth across the world to activate at once. Helen, shocked by what was happening, hurried back toward the car. Jacob became increasingly anxious and fearfully asked Helen what would happen if Klaatu liked him and decided to move in with them. Helen tried to reassure him that nothing like that would happen, but Jacob refused to believe her and ran into the forest in anger. Helen followed him.
No, it's not like that. God, no. You don't understand.
Whatever, you wait for it. I'm going home.
As they moved through the trees, they noticed a bright light. At the same time, the spheres that had been present across Earth began leaving the planet, with only Klaatu's own sphere remaining behind. Klaatu returned. Helen then started to ask him to explain everything, and he explained that humanity was destroying the planet. He said Earth was one of the few places in the universe capable of supporting life, but humans were ruining it and would need to be removed for the planet to recover.
This planet is dying.
You said you came to save us.
If you die, the Earth survives.
Helen reacted with fear and insisted that humans could still change if given another chance. Klaatu responded that years of observation had shown no real improvement, as humans remained self-focused. He said the process had already been set in motion.
Please.
It's reached the tipping point. We have to act.
Please.
We'll undo the damage you've done and give the Earth a chance to begin again.
Please. We could change.
A policeman happened to pass by and recognize Klaatu. He stopped the car and ordered him to surrender at gunpoint. Jacob urged Klaatu not to harm the officer. Klaatu responded that there was no need to worry and that the pain would be minimal. He then used his abilities to move Helen's car, pinning the policeman underneath it. Jacob became frightened by what he saw.
Not gonna hurt him, so long as
I wasn't talking to you.
The pain will only last a moment.
Klaatu then used his power through the vehicle to deliver an electric shock to the policeman's heart, reviving him afterward. He explained that his intention was not to kill him, only to remove an obstacle. Helen remained convinced that Klaatu had the ability to stop everything if he chose to. She told him she would take him to someone who might still be able to change his perspective.
You could stop this, couldn't you? If you wanted to. Let me take you. Get in the car.
At the same time, the Secret Services analyzed footage of the spheres that had risen from Earth. They discovered that the spheres were transporting Earth's life forms into space. Regina concluded that without these organisms, life on Earth would collapse, meaning something severe was about to happen.
They're saving as many species as they can.
And what comes next is...
The flood.
Meanwhile, the military secured the large robot inside an underground silo. Helen brought Klaatu to Carl, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist she worked with. Klaatu noticed a formula on a board and began correcting it, and Carl quickly joined him in solving the problem. Carl soon realized that the man was the alien they were searching for. In another room, Jacob was watching television and saw a message on the screen showing how to report sightings of the alien. During their conversation, Carl asked Klaatu how his species had survived without conflict. Klaatu explained that their son had begun to die, forcing them to adapt and change. Carl responded that meaningful change only happened when survival was at risk, and suggested humans were now at a similar point. This made Klaatu reconsider, but the moment was interrupted when Air Force helicopters arrived.
The problem is you. You lack the will to change.
Then help us change.
I cannot change your nature.
Klaatu, Helen, and Jacob fled the house. As they left, Carl told Helen that the alien could not be changed through words alone and needed to see human behavior in action in order to understand change.
It's too late for that.
They tried to hide in a forest, but Jacob ran into an open area and signaled the helicopters, revealing their position. He also said he had called the military because he believed his father would have done the same and would not betray his country for an alien. Helen tried to calm him and reminded him that his father was gone and that she was there for him, but Jacob became emotional and began crying.
We should be helping him.
You fight me on everything. On everything.
My dad were here.
But he isn't here. He's gone.
Suddenly, a helicopter captured Helen and lifted her away. The remaining helicopters targeted Klaatu, but he disabled them using an electric shock, causing them to crash into each other. Jacob ran deeper into the forest out of fear, but Klaatu followed him and stopped him from falling into a river. Jacob then told Klaatu that he was lost and asked him to take him home. Klaatu then started to lead the way. Helen was brought to Regina while asking to be released, explaining that Klaatu only responded to her and she might be able to stop him. Regina rejected the request.
The only chance we have is if he changes his mind. But I think he trusts me, and I don't think he wants to do this.
We have the situation under control.
Madam Secretary, General Quinn needs to see you in the briefing room.
At the military base, special forces attempted to study the captured robot. They tried to cut into it using a diamond drill, but the tool broke. When a technician went to replace it, microscopic insect-like organisms began forming in the cracks of the damaged equipment and quickly started consuming him.
No.
Open the door! Open the door! Let me out! Open it!
I said reset the drill.
Let me out!
The robot then fully collapsed and transformed into a swarm of tiny machine-like organisms. These nanobots spread rapidly, destroying everything they touched. Windows shattered and people tried to escape, but the entire base had already been sealed. Within moments, everyone inside was reduced to dust, and the facility was completely wiped out.
This facility has been sealed.
Reports reached Regina that the nanobots could not be stopped. Any attempt to attack them with missiles or similar weapons would only cause them to multiply further. The swarm continued spreading in all directions like a cloud, destroying everything in its path. Soon enough, the swarm reached most of the city, reducing everything into rubble in seconds. Realizing there was no effective defense, Regina decided to release Helen so she could attempt to communicate with Klaatu.
Every strike made it larger.
And this mass, where's it heading?
Everywhere.
Michael accompanied Helen as she headed into the forest. Klaatu had taken Jacob to a cabin and told him to contact his mother. Jacob called her, and they arranged to meet at a secure location. After that, Jacob and Klaatu left together. During the journey, Jacob admitted that he no longer wanted Klaatu to be killed. This made Klaatu reconsider his view of humans, as he began to see that they were not entirely bad.
I didn't mean it, though.
You didn't?
Well, not anymore.
Later, they arrived at a cemetery where Jacob's father was buried. Jacob became emotional and asked whether Klaatu could bring his father back to life, like he had done with the injured policeman. Klaatu explained that his abilities were limited and could only restore someone who had just been injured or recently died, not someone who had been gone for years. Jacob accepted it and asked Klaatu to leave him, and then he started to cry.
Just like with the trooper.
I'm sorry.
Helen arrived shortly after and reunited with Jacob. They embraced and both apologized for their earlier behavior. They agreed to move forward as a family. Seeing this, Klaatu recognized that humans were capable of love and change, and he believed they should be given another chance. Helen also insisted that humanity could improve. Klaatu then agreed to attempt to stop the nanobots.
I'm sorry.
But we can change. You know that now.
I'll try. I must get back to the city.
At that time, the nanobot swarm was already consuming New York, destroying buildings, stadiums, and vehicles as it spread. Regina informed the president that the situation was being handled peacefully, but the president ordered continued attacks, insisting the aliens were still a threat. Helen, Jacob, Klaatu, and Michael rushed back toward New York, where the final sphere remained. On the way, they encountered a military roadblock, but Klaatu instructed Michael to drive straight through it. The soldiers initially pursued them, but later received orders to stand down. They arrived at Central Park and found the area empty, with both military personnel and scientists gone. Soon after, an Air Force bombing began, causing their car to flip and explode. Michael was killed in the blast, while Helen, Jacob, and Klaatu survived. The nanobots reached their position and started destroying the vehicle. Klaatu took Helen and Jacob and moved them toward the remaining sphere, but the swarm had already filled the sky. They managed to take cover under a bridge. While hiding, Jacob suddenly suffered a nosebleed and lost consciousness. Helen also began to bleed from the nose. Klaatu explained that the nanobots had entered their bodies and were gradually breaking them down from within. Helen asked him for help.
Help him. Help him.
Klaatu took her hands and used his power to extract the nanobots from her body, transferring them into himself. At that moment, Jacob regained consciousness. Klaatu then acknowledged that Carl had been correct, realizing that humans can change when they are close to their limits. Klaatu looked at Helen and Jacob one last time before walking into the cloud of nanobots and heading toward his sphere. When he reached it and made contact, his body disintegrated and the nanobots were destroyed at the same time. The destroyed nanobots fell across the world like snow. At the same moment, global power systems shut down and the entire planet went dark. Helen and Jacob stepped outside and watched the sphere rise back into the sky, leaving Earth.